Well, it's time to answer those Q&A questions. So back on August 12th, I asked for if anybody had any questions that they wanted answered on the channel. I had a Q&A session. It was going to be a lot of fun. And I had 31 people ask total different questions out there. So let's get to it and answer these questions. But before I do that, I just wanted to go over the poll results with you. I asked what you guys would like to do for a subscriber meetup, either a car camping trip or a backpacking trip. And car camping won 75% to 25%. So I do not know the dates of that yet, but that's going to be coming up soon. So it'll be a subscriber meetup. It will be a car camping trip. But let's get to the Q&A questions. So first question here is going to be from Deanne Day 4. Hey Deanne, you asked, what is your favorite place where you have camped and your least favorite? Well, my least favorite place is a spot that I actually never camped at. I was out on my first trip with Andrew. We were going up north going to fish at Pleasant Valley Reservoir, and we stopped at Independence Creek to camp at, and we stopped there for just a few minutes. The wind was blowing. The campground there itself only has like a few trees for a wind block and shade, and it was howling, so we didn't even stop there. We just moved on and kept going. Actually stayed at the PVR camp that's right below the dam. As far as my favorite spot to camp, I've got two. I'm going to give you my favorite car camping spot was actually at Boulder Mountain. There's a meadow we pulled up to. I'll put a picture up here of what my campsite looked like. We had a fire pit. We had my tent within like 10 feet of the fire. It was just an awesome spot. And my favorite backpacking camp might be Upper Funston Meadow that we did on the High Sierra Trail, or maybe one of the beach sites that we had on the Lost Coast Trail. Next on the question was from Off the Beaten Pot. He said, hey Huck Outdoors, love your channel. Congratulations on the subs, that's ace. My question, what's your go-to method of cooking when you're out in the wild? And what else would you expect from me? Well, first off, don't expect anything from the subscribers. As long as you're enjoying the videos, that's all I ask. As far as my go-to method of cooking, it all depends where I go. Sometimes I just like the ease of boiling water and doing dehydrated food. Other times I like to bring the MSR skillet and cook up a good meal. And then other times, like I did at Cooper Canyon, we were able to have a fire, so I was actually cooking a hobo meal cooked in foil. And that worked out well. So it all depends on where I'm going. Of course, I like to cook real food, not dehydrated food. So if I can bring the skillet, that little bit of extra weight, it's well worth it. The next question comes from Mel Donovan. I have a question. Do you ever come across a supernatural outdoors, Huck? Something unexplainable ever cross your paths? I ask this for my family because the supernatural will not get away with all that they've done to me and my family. They've also sent a link to some AI technology. But Mel, I not really ever ran into something out there that's supernatural. We were on a Bigfoot trip. We did hear knocks that one night, just one time, and then nothing else throughout the night. But that's the closest I've came to anything supernatural out there on the trail. So the next question comes from Carl Huck. He says, my last name is Huck. What's yours? Not many Hucks in this world. Is that good or bad? Well, my last name is Huckaba, so it's not Huck. But growing up, a lot of people just called me Huck. Even nowadays when I'm playing softball or out on the trail, everybody calls me Huck. It's a lot easier to say Huck than Huckaba, so that's where Huck came from. Oh, getting thirsty here. Next question comes from Xavier Gomez. He says, with all due respect, I have a similar or same body type as yourself. Is this a factor in any backpacking experience? Do you prepare for any unpleasant drawbacks? Again, I'm not being offensive. I'm a fluffy dude. Thanks and great channel. Backpacking for fishing is my new goal. I learn a lot from you. Well, Xavier, I hope you enjoy my last video I did up in the Golden Trout Wilderness. Some great backpacking and fishing, and next week I'm heading up north, and you're going to see another video on some more backpacking and fishing. But being a bigger guy, I'm 5'10.5". I just lost a little bit of weight. I'm down to 225 now. I was up to almost 240. And I just came to realize that my clothes and my gear weighs a little bit more because I'm a bigger guy. I'm wearing extra large and double X in my clothes, so that means it's going to weigh more than somebody with a smaller medium clothes. Also, my quilt is a wide. So with a wide, it's going to weigh a little bit more than somebody that's got a regular size quilt. So just be prepared for that when you're out there, that your weight's going to be a little bit heavier than maybe some of your friends that are a little bit smaller than you. And don't worry about it, though. You know, you're out there in the backcountry, enjoy it. As you're backpacking more and more, you're going to get used to carrying that weight, and before long you won't even realize you got it on your back. So enjoy it. Hopefully you get some nice backpacking and fishing trips in soon, Xavier. So my friend Donnie here, Hike to Be Human, check out his channel. He asks, do you have any fears solo hiking? Meetup fishing clinic near Whitney. I wish we could do a meetup up there at Whitney. That'd be hard to get a lot of people to, but it'd be fun. There's a lot of great places to fish up there in the Southern Sierra. But yeah, my only fear really hiking in SoCal solo would be that some of the local mountains have some marijuana grows, illegal ones. And just up here by Angeles Oaks, which is close to Mount San Bernardino, a few years back they busted a big grove up there, and there's tons of stuff up there. If I came across one of those, you never know. It's like most of those guys in the legal groves have some ARs or something, and they're protecting those groves. That's their money. And if you walk in on that, you never know what's going to happen. So that's probably my biggest fear solo hiking. I got quite a few buddies coming in here. So ultralight backpacker Anthony, another one of my buddies, check out his channel. He asks, what would be your dream adventure job? I could see you being a fishing guide or a backcountry trip guide for sure. Actually, as I was growing up, I always wanted to be a fishing guide. Somewhere up north, maybe Alaska, British Columbia, Washington, Oregon, Montana, but that was my dream job growing up, was being a fishing guide. As I got a little bit older, I thought maybe getting to be a game warden would be cool. Then I just got into computers. Charlie. Hey, Charlie. He asked, you ever use a hammock? If so, what model? I had a hammock. I used it once up at Jackstraw Springs. I did the whole hammock setup. I actually had fun, but I don't really use it enough that warranted me keeping it, so I actually sold it. It was a Yukon Outfitters hammock, and the underquilt and tarp was made by Cedar Ridge Outdoors. But it was fun. It was nice, but I'm more of a tent guy, I realized after that, and I actually sold it. My buddy Hector picked it up, and I hope he's enjoying it. Next question comes from Following the Aggies. Hopefully I said your last name right. You guys got a great channel as well. They say, you deserve it, buddy. Congrats. This is coming from Lisa. If you would hike with anyone in the world, who would it be and why? Okay, if I could hike with anybody in the world, it's going to be with somebody that's already passed away. And that would have probably been with Teddy Roosevelt or Lewis and Clark. How cool would that have been to be on the Lewis and Clark adventure and seeing where we bought the Louisiana Purchase and seeing the whole West for the first time? That would have been awesome, because you think about it, they had no means of communication back to us. They were coming across, they were on their own. It's not like when we went to the moon, we were still able to communicate back with people down here on Earth. But for them, they had nobody to communicate to. They were on their own and went all the way across up to Oregon into the mouth of the Columbia River. That would have been cool to be on that trip, or just to talk to them. And once again with Teddy Roosevelt, because to me he is my favorite president that we've had. Backpacking with Jason asks, what is your favorite backpack to use for a weekend trip? And right now my favorite backpack to use is going to be my 6 Moon Designs minimalist backpack. Fallen in love with it. I've used it on quite a few trips now. I'm not pushing the weight in that thing. The most I've had is around 35 pounds, but it's so comfortable on the shoulders, on the hips. I can pack everything I need in for a weekend trip. And so that is my favorite pack that I use right now. Okay, Mark Stanton. He's been a subscriber for a while, and he asks, what do you do for a living? Well, I work for an IT company in project management and sales. I started off on the network side as a network engineer. I worked my way up into being into the project management and the sales aspect. So that's what I do. I'm in the IT world. Next question on the list comes from my buddy Fred, in our Element Adventures. He asks, everything has a beginning. What was it that ignited your passion for the outdoors? And I'm gotta say, my parents, they took me on quite a few camping trips. We went to Zion, to Bryce. Heck, I was in Zion and tubing down a little inner tube like that old video game. We'd go down the rapids over there at on the Virgin River through the campgrounds and everything. Went up to the Grand Tetons, to Yellowstone. Had a blast up there. The Yellowstone trip, I got to fish some of the most famous trout waters in the U.S. up there. How cool is that? Then also, my aunt, when my parents weren't able to take me, my Aunt Dottie took me on some trips as well, and she took me to the Sierra. We went up to Mount St. Helens. We went all over the western U.S. Mount Lassen, and one of the best parts about it, I got to fish then too. So she let me fish. She took me to all sorts of places. So gotta say, it was my family that helped me get into the outdoors. Put that passion into me. So my mom and dad and my Aunt Dottie. Next question comes from my buddy Tuba Solo the hiker, and he asked, "Bro, stoked for all the subs. Looking forward to the meetup. But what's your all-time favorite stove and why?" Well, it's got to be the BRS. Why not? It's the lightest stove in the world. Just kidding. It's a tie between two stoves. It's either got to be the Soto Windmaster, just because that stove kicks butt. It's awesome. Or it's my old Jetboil, the Jetboil Soul TI Titanium. You can hardly find those things. They are rare to find, the titanium version. I love that thing. I'm just boiling water. That boils water so quick. It's lightweight. Used it on the High Sierra Trail. I used it for many years now. It's a great stove, but so is the Soto Windmaster. Both are great stoves. Kaywood Adventures Alaska and more. He asked, do the meetup in he didn't really ask the question. He just said, do the meetup in Alaska. LOL, I will be there. If I could do the meetup in Alaska, I'd do it in a heartbeat. We'd be all up there. But since I can't, it's got to be here in Southern California. So you can always come down here to SoCal and be part of the meetup. So my buddy Devin over at Backcountry Exposure asks, what's your Utah bucket list trip? Also, is there a gear item or good luck charm that you always carry that you don't share in your gear list videos? So my Utah bucket list trip would either be the Unitas. I'm probably just murdered that name. I'm not from Utah. I'm SoCal. But either that or Boulder Mountain trip. How cool would it be up in Boulder Mountain backpacking for 3 or 4 days and stopping at a lake and fishing that lake and then just catching trout and cooking them. I believe Firebox Stove, he's always up there in the Boulder Mountains. I've been there once and I just can't wait to get back. So yeah, Boulder Mountain would be my bucket list trip. And then as far as a gear item, good luck charm, let me show you, Devin. I actually recorded this on a previous trip. So cue that video. Devin, you're asking if I bring something sentimental on my trips. And this is it right here. 2 pieces here, a carabiner and an orange key tag, key ring. They're remembrance of 2 friends. The carabiner was for my friend Donna, Paul's wife, that passed away. And this right here, the orange key ring, is for my friend Alex that passed away. So bring them along on each trip and just a good remembrance. So they've been traveling quite a bit now. Next on the question list is David Wang. He asks, is Monica a fire lookout volunteer? How about yourself? Can you and or Monica offer a guided tour of a fire lookout or offer advice about renting out a lookout to stay overnight, one that is not too difficult to get to? Well, let's get to the source and ask Monica. So Monica, can you help me out with this question here?
Yes, Jason, I would love to. So David Wang asked if I was a fire lookout volunteer. Yes, David, I am. I work for the San Bernardino National Forest as a non-paid employee. And I currently host the Black Mountain Lookout Tower in the San Jacinto Range. And no, I don't work up there alone. I also work alongside Jason and David. David, you asked if Jason or myself can offer a guided tour of the lookout. Well, absolutely. Right now, the lookout tower is open 7 days a week from 9 to 5, and you're welcome to come up at any time during open hours. Bring your family, bring your friends. Come on up, check it out. We'll show you what tower life is all about. We'll show you how to use the Osborne and other various things that fire lookout hosts do. He also asked if we can offer any advice as far as renting out a lookout tower and with ease of accessibility. Well, actually, if you go to recreation.gov, there you will find more information about the individual towers and what they offer and rental fees. From what I've seen, it was anywhere from $45 to $75 and possibly a little higher depending. Also, if anybody else is interested in lookout towers, the history of them, how maybe you can volunteer or get paid to work for one, or even purchase a lookout tower, check out these websites. I'll have Jason link them below.
Sandra, I'm probably going to murder your last name right now. Sandra Tamayo. I'm sorry I just murdered your last name, but it was good meeting you up at the Persicombe Pine Forest. You asked if you want an all-expensive paid backpacking trip anywhere in the world, where would you go? I think it's going to have to be New Zealand. After watching the Lord of the Ring movies, I love New Zealand and just what the backcountry looks like there. So I'd love to go on some of the trails there. They've actually got Lord of the Ring tours. That's pretty cool, and you can actually tour the little Hobbitville. You can do the trails that they were on and just check out all the scenery. So it'd have to be New Zealand. New Zealand would be pretty cool to go to. So Our World Adventures, Tony, he asks, do you believe in Bigfoot? I believe there's something out there. Bigfoot, maybe. It's undiscovered animal, possibly. There's something out there. There's so many reports, so is it Bigfoot or Sasquatch? Who knows? My buddy Jonathan, he might be able to tell you where it's at, but yeah, maybe it's a Bigfoot, maybe it's just some sort of primate out there, or maybe some other animal. Definitely something out there. Next question comes from my friend Monica, always in Adventure Luna. Once again, most of the people here, if they've got a channel, I'm going to put a link below, so check out her channel as well. She asked, what has been your scariest wildlife encounter? Well, that happened up at Mammoth Lakes. I was going up towards Duck Pass, hiking by myself, and I'm going along the trail and just looking over here, looking over there, just checking out the scenery. It was beautiful. I was ready to get to the lake and fish, and out of the corner of my eye, I see something yellow running down the trail and pounce. And right then and there, I almost peed my pants. I was pretty scared to look up, but then I saw out of the corner of my eye, I saw it starting to run at me. I looked up, and I was relieved to see it was a yellow lab. That thing was just coming up and wanted to be petted. All of a sudden, as soon as it got to me, I heard somebody else up on the trail, and the dog had got away from him, so I held on to the dog, and they came back down the trail. It took him about 5 minutes to catch up to the dog, but there he was. The owner was happy to see him. I was happy to see that it wasn't a mountain lion that I thought it was. And yeah, that was a little scary. Okay, Backcountry Adam, he asked, SMD Skyscape or Lunar Solo, which one do you like better? Well, they both have their pros and cons, but if I had to choose one, it's going to be the Skyscape Trekker. Just an awesome tent. Next question is going to be from Red, White, and Blue 79. Hey, Jason, what are your pet peeves? I've only got one, and one of my friends is going to laugh at this, but it's not being on time. I hate being late to places, and I always like to arrive early wherever I'm going. So, biggest pet peeve is being late. Next question comes from Rick Lopez. Rick asks, I want to backpack to Lake Dorothy above Convict Lake. Need help to achieve that goal. Never backpacked before. Well, Rick, if I would suggest maybe trying out some backpacking in your local mountains. If it's Southern California, maybe check out REI or Venture 16 and rent some gear to test out. And if you like it, then maybe you can get some gear of your own and just get out there. That's the best way to practice backpacking, is just getting out there. Next question comes from my buddy Matt. Lead Me Outdoors. Once again, check out his channel as well. Like I said, everybody that asks a question, there's going to be links to their channels below, so you can check them all out. All great people here that asking questions. Do appreciate all from everybody. But getting back to Matt's question, he asks, out of all the 6 Moon Design products you use, what is your favorite and why? Well, now it's got to probably be the Minimalist Backpack. You guys are probably going to think I was going to say the Skyscape Trekker or the Lunar Solo, but this backpack is just feeling great. Just fits so well. When I fill it up, it doesn't feel like I'm overbogged with everything. It doesn't feel heavy. It just feels right on my back and on my hips. So it's got to be the 6 Moon Designs Minimalist Backpack. Senior Citizen Sue goes hiking. She asks, were you a Boy Scout? Did your family camp, hike, fish, or backpack when you were younger? Actually, I was in Cub Scouts. I got into Boy Scouts. I actually went through Cub Scouts to get my pocket knife. Once I got there, I got into Boy Scouts and went to probably a month's worth of meetings and dropped out to play sports more. I loved playing baseball when I was a kid. So yeah, I've gotten to baseball. Yeah, my family did a lot of camping as well. A lot of the camping trips we went on, I also got to do fishing. So it was the best of both worlds. Next question comes from Hoof Dog Hikes. He's up north, up in northern or central California. And he asks, what type of bear canister do you prefer or use, and pros and cons of it? Thank you for the update in the poll. Well, my favorite bear canister is got to be the lighter one, Little Sammy. One big pro of it is that it comes with the top, which can be used as a frying pan. The con of it, though, also that frying pan lid sometimes is a little bit hard to get off, especially if it's cold out, trying to remove those screws. But the lighter one, the Little Sammy, is got to be my favorite bear canister. Leon Finn, he asks, when will 6 Million Designs release a DCF Gatewood cape? My guess is as good as yours, but you know what, that would be an awesome piece of gear. I can only imagine how much that thing would weigh, and man, the DCF Gatewood cape, imagine that. Maybe I'll have to run that by the people and give that as a suggestion. Yeah, that would be a cool piece of gear for sure. Next question comes from Dylan. I'm going to murder your last name as well, as I've done to a few other people here. Van Bivell? Dylan Banville? Did I say it right? But he asked, what is the most daring thing you've experienced on an adventure? And I'm going to have to say it either was in Joshua Tree or also up at San Antonio Falls. And in Joshua Tree, we were rock climbing. And if anybody, if you know me, I am afraid of heights. And I got to conquer a fear that day of going off the side of that mountain. I was up there for a good 30 minutes. I thought Paul was going to come up and kick me off the edge like a 300, saying this is Joshua Tree, a foot to the chest, and knock me off. But when he got up there, he relieved me of a lot of my fears and helped me get down the rock. And sure enough, as soon as I got down, I was like, let's do that again. Went back up, did it a second time, and a year later we went out to San Antonio Falls and we went canyoneering. And Paul had forgotten how fearful I was at Joshua Tree. He says I was like a whole different person up there. So that was probably my most daring thing, for me at least, was conquering that fear of heights and getting off that rock up there. And man, I can't wait to do it again. My buddy Al Casillas, he asked, what is the worst place you've ever camped at? I actually answered at the beginning of the video, but I'll answer it for you again. It's a place I've never camped at. Yeah, I almost did. Was Independence Creek. After we get done from there, we were tired, but we drove almost an extra hour just not to camp there and kept going further north. So Independence Creek is probably one of the worst places that I would have camped at, but I never did. Last question here comes from Maddie Outdoors. He asks, what's your favorite kind of candy? Well, I wasn't really big on candy, but my favorite would have been Kit Kat bars. They were pretty high up on my list, or Skittles. Those would be my two favorite candies as I was growing up, and even as I got older. Those are both great candies. Well, that's going to be it for the Q&A session. I had a lot of fun. I appreciate everybody that asked a question. Hopefully I got to answer everybody's. I think I got everybody's questions. It's been a lot of fun. And now I'm going to give back to you, the subscribers. I haven't done a subscriber giveaway for a while. This isn't going to be anything big, but I thought I'd just reward everybody that chimed in with a question. So what I've done here, I'm on my work phone. I'm doing a random YouTube comment picker. I came in here, enter my YouTube video URL, which I already got. I'm filtering duplicate users. Let's see here. Let's start and see who wins this little gift. Winner. See that right there? It says hike to be human. That is going to be Donnie. So Donnie, you have won. It's just going to be a little Amazon gift card. So shoot me your email address, Donnie, and I'm going to shoot that over to you. So I appreciate all the questions again. It was a blast answering them all. Thank you to all the subscribers out there. If you're not a subscriber, hit that subscribe button. Like the video if you liked it. Comment below any other questions you got for me. I'll try to answer everything I can. And going back to that subscriber meetup, I'm going to try to do it first or second week of November now. I'll do another update video shortly on that so you guys know exactly where that is. And until the next one, thanks for having me.